Liverpool supporters have been bracing themselves for a turbulent summer, but few could have predicted how quickly the transfer landscape would shift in just a matter of weeks. The club's pre-season has been shadowed by both emotional and tactical challenges, and now, the latest developments suggest the squad could undergo even more dramatic changes before the window closes. One of the biggest stories concerns Darwin Núñez, the Uruguayan forward, whose future has been the subject of relentless speculation. After intense negotiations, Liverpool have reportedly reached an agreement worth over £46 million with Saudi Pro League giants Al Hilal, paving the way for a departure that once seemed unthinkable. This move, though not yet officially confirmed, appears to be inching closer to completion with each passing day, leaving Arne Slot and the recruitment team weighing their options in the forward department. Among those options, one name continues to dominate the conversation: Alexander Isak, the Swedish international currently contracted to Newcastle United, has been Liverpool's top target for much of the summer. In fact, Anfield's hierarchy already tested the waters with a huge bid in excess of £110 million plus add-ons, only to see it rejected by the Magpies last week. However, the situation is far from over. Isak has been training away from Newcastle's first-team group, a sign many interpret as him preparing for a potential move, while Newcastle themselves are exploring possible replacements in case the striker does leave. Speaking to the media at the AXA training centre on Friday, Arne Slot maintained a calm, almost playful tone when asked about the Isak rumours. He reminded reporters of the unwritten managerial code: never discuss players who belong to other clubs. As you know from me, and I think every manager works like this, you never talk about players that are not yours, Slot said with a faint smile, deflecting the speculation. Instead, he turned the focus towards Liverpool's newest arrival, Hugo Ekitike, praising the young forward's immediate impact in training and suggesting that the squad, as it stands, remains highly competitive. Slot acknowledged that Núñez's exit was more than likely, but stressed that nothing had been finalized, hinting that the picture would become clearer in the coming days. For Liverpool fans still coming to terms with the loss of Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich earlier in the window, as well as the devastating emotional blow of losing Diogo Jota last month, the prospect of another senior attacker departing is unsettling. Yet Slot remains adamant that the team retains significant attacking depth, naming Cody Gakpo, Federico Chiesa, Hugo Ekitike, Mohamed Salah, Jeremy Frimpong, and Florian Wirtz as players capable of stepping into various forward roles if needed. Slot also reminded everyone that Liverpool's recruitment strategy is not restricted solely to replacing attackers. The club's transfer activity, he insisted, could just as easily focus on strengthening midfield or defensive positions should the right opportunities arise. One subplot worth noting is the uncertainty surrounding Federico Chiesa's future, with the Italian winger still linked to a possible exit before the deadline. At the other end of the age spectrum, there is growing excitement about 16-year-old Rio Ingimoha, a homegrown talent tipped to make his first real push for senior minutes this season. These internal solutions may, by Liverpool time, allowing them to pursue their top attacking targets without rushing into a deal. Still, the Alexander Isak saga refuses to die down. Newcastle's own transfer dealings could hold the key, and the latest developments on Tyneside suggest the door for Liverpool might soon open wider. Newcastle United, meanwhile, are in the midst of a busy and at times challenging transfer window. While they have succeeded in bringing in notable reinforcements, their pursuit of certain targets has been less straightforward. Earlier this summer, they secured the £55 million signing of Anthony Elanga from Nottingham Forest, with the winger already making an impression by scoring in a pre-season clash against Arsenal. They also added goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, brought in on loan from Southampton, providing Champions League experience and an option to buy next summer. But the club's recruitment drive has not been limited to senior players. One of the more intriguing developments is the signing of Liverpool Academy midfielder Isak Moran, a 16-year-old prospect whose move to Tyneside adds to Newcastle's growing collection of young talent. Moran made just 3 appearances for Liverpool's under-18 side last season, but impressed scouts with his maturity and technical skill. Although the transfer has yet to be formally announced, Moran has already confirmed his departure on social media, posting a farewell message thanking teammates, coaches, and staff for their guidance during his decade at the club. His arrival at Newcastle follows a pattern. Since the club's takeover in 2021, they have aggressively recruited some of the best young prospects from across the UK and beyond. Moran is not the only youthful addition Newcastle will make this summer. 17-year-old Georgian striker Voktang Salia is set to complete his move from Dynamo Tbilisi at the end of August. Once he turns 18, Salia, who agreed to the deal last October, has already visited Newcastle's training facilities and met with manager Eddie Howe. Like Spanish youngster Antonio Cordero, signed from Malaga earlier this year, Salia is expected to go out on loan during his first season in England. To help him adapt to the physical demands of the Premier League, these youth signings demonstrate Newcastle's two-pronged strategy, building a squad capable of competing now while also laying the foundations for sustained success in the years ahead. Back in the senior market, Newcastle's hunt for a striker is intensifying. Their shortlist has included names like Nicholas Jackson of Chelsea, but no deal has yet been agreed. The uncertainty surrounding Isak's future is forcing the club to consider their options carefully. One potential solution could be Dusan Vlahovic, the powerful Juventus forward who has scored 58 goals in 145 appearances since joining from Fiorentina in 2022, reports from Italy suggest intermediaries have offered Newcastle the chance to sign the Serbian international. However, the situation could get complicated. Juventus are believed to be open to negotiations, but there is speculation they may use the talks to explore a possible move for Newcastle midfielder Sandro Tonali, the Italian playmaker, who formed an effective midfield trio with Bruno Guimaraes and Joelinton last season, remains one of Newcastle's most valuable assets and is under contract until 2028. Any deal involving Tonali would be a major shock, though Juventus are also reportedly interested in other midfielders such as Douglas Luiz, Nicolo Zaniolo, Yves Bissouma, Matt O'Reilly, Frank Kessie, and Morten Hjulmand. If Newcastle were to secure Vlahovic, it could finally unlock the Isak pathway, setting up one of the most high-profile transfers of the summer. Eddie Howe has admitted that the Isak situation is complex and that there is no certainty over the outcome, but his desire to keep the striker is clear. For Liverpool, the stakes are high. Losing Núñez without a marquee replacement would test the squad's depth, but landing a proven Premier League forward like Isak would instantly reassure supporters and give Slot a formidable attacking spearhead. The coming days promise to be decisive, with both clubs navigating a transfer chess match that could shape their seasons.